Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session that was done with a man who was waiting for upcoming surgery, but had a severe anxiety of the idea of anything related to medical treatment. So injections, giving blood, things that relate to dealing with doctors, or mainly the anticipation of future treatment. And he did something very specifically when he was thinking about future treatment, which a lot of phobics tend to do. They tend to think about a future event in a very detrimental or undesirable way, in a way that makes them feel anxious at the thought of what's going to happen in the future. So what this hypnosis session was designed to do was to lay the foundation of him feeling very confident and resourceful in a way where the future event was something that he might not like to do, but that he could do it. And I think sometimes it's useful to be really practical and pragmatic with this kind of stuff. I've never had a phobia of the dentist or doctors. Doesn't mean I enjoy going there. And I think sometimes it's useful to pace the experience of the individual. You don't want to, as a hypnotist, say you're going to feel absolutely confident, with no anxiety whatsoever. Because the reality is, even those people that don't have fears or anxieties about, let's say, medical treatment, quite rightly could feel anxious, because there is an element of seriousness to having anesthetic and to having treatment. So this session wasn't about him feeling that it was something he enjoyed or something that he was supremely confident about, but more that he could have a very pragmatic approach. And it also introduces a particular strategy which a lot of people that don't like medical treatment or don't like dentists tend to do. And that is, at the point where the treatment is taking place, they tend to distract themselves either by looking or focusing on something else. So if I'm in the dentist, for example, I'm very focused on any kind of background noises or music, if there's a radio playing in the background. And if there isn't, I'm making a very clear image in my head of something else I'd rather be doing. And for him, one of the key benefits of having this medical treatment is that he would be able to do things with his children that he hasn't been able to do. So one of the key suggestions here is that if there is anything taking place that does make him feel a bit anxious, then he would disassociate from that feeling and then associate into a future event that hasn't happened yet, but that was fun and pleasurable. And I knew that this would be feasible for him, because effectively that's what his anxiety was. His anxiety was teleporting into a future event and actually feeling undesirable emotions even before the treatment had happened. So that same way of thinking could be applied so that when the actual medical treatment's taking place, he can then future pace himself, think about a future event of all the benefits that he would be able to do with that treatment having taken place. This hypnosis session is obviously very tailor-made to the individual I was working with. But if you're listening to this and you have some form of medical anxiety, that might be giving blood, receiving blood, injections, surgery, dental work, whatever it might be, there will be a link nearby to this session on the podcast where you can book a free 30-minute consultation call, and I can explain how I work and what I do, so that you can have a more bespoke experience. That said, you still might be able to get value from this session here. Or if nothing else, it will give you an idea of some of the thinking approaches and strategies that might help with you in your specific situation. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Okay, take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close so you're better able to focus on the sound of my voice. Breathing in that feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, allowing any worries, tension, stress to gradually, breath by breath, to leave your body as you exhale. Continuing to breathe in and breathe out. And as your body relaxes, your mind becomes more alert. And I want you to think of a moment, at least a year into the future. A year into the future where you're on holiday. Sunny weather, blue skies. And I want you to imagine that in this particular thought, you're on your own. Even if you're on that holiday with other people, maybe your family, here in this moment, I want you to imagine you've got some time for yourself. And maybe there's a beach, or maybe it's by the side of a pool, but I want you to imagine that you've got some time for yourself. I want you to imagine there is some kind of sun lounger or hammock, something relaxing. And imagine how good it would be to just lie on that thing. Notice that as you breathe in and breathe out, you're breathing in this feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, exhaling any remaining feelings of tension or worry. Feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. And noticing that as you breathe in and breathe out, your arms are relaxing, your neck is relaxing, your whole body starts to relax. And I want you to accept the suggestion that this is you in the future, and for at least a year, you've been free of any fears of anything medical, anything related to injections, anything related to treatment. Just imagine, it's been longer than a year and these fears don't even occur to you anymore. So as you lie there under the sunshine, I want you to get a sense of how far you've come. That things that used to be troublesome or difficult no longer faze you. I also want you to get a sense that your body has changed as a direct result of these fears being in your past rather than your present or future. I want you to accept that any dental treatment that you've needed has now long been done. Any surgery that was necessary, that's all in the past now. It's all happened in the way that it should happen, and you've got exactly the outcome that you want. As you continue to breathe in and breathe out, I want you to get a sense that all this started when something that was important and perhaps even essential was the catalyst for you to face a fear and realize that this fear was a figment of your own imagination. Sometimes we think that things are real because of the emotion we attach to them. But I want you to accept a new suggestion to be true. These emotions that you used to experience in the past was proportional not to the event, but the way that you were thinking about the event. And as you learned to change how you thought about the future, it meant that you felt more resourceful in the present. And by feeling more resourceful in the present, you were able to do things that contradicted this idea that you couldn't cope. And the way you did that was very methodical very pragmatic, very resourceful. I want you to imagine there you are on that sun lounger or hammock, and I will count down from 10 to 1, and you will imagine falling asleep there on that sun lounger, under the sun. You're already in the future. Now, 10. Eyelids getting heavier and heavier. 9. Forehead, just relaxing those muscles there. 8. Allow the muscles in your jaw, cheeks, around your neck to relax. 7. Muscles in your shoulders, upper back. Breathe in that feeling of resourcefulness, and on your outward breath, just release that tension. Now, that's it. 7 and 6. Arms feeling heavier, limper, looser. They almost feel like your arms are the limbs of a puppet without any strings, just limp and loose, just hanging there. That's it. 5, as you breathe in, even your internal organs relax. Heart relaxes, lungs relax. All of your internal organs are relaxing, but particularly your diaphragm, enabling you to breathe deeper, all the way down, deeper down. That's it. 4, that relaxation going into your legs. Release that tension now. That's it. 3, all the way down into your toes. And then 2 and then 1. Imagine what it would be like to fall asleep there by that beach, by that pool. And as you do so, drift into a sleep where you start to remember a moment from your past. More than a year ago, you had some important surgery that needed to be done. But I want you to imagine that this future version of you that no longer has this fear, that has already had this surgery successfully a long time ago, you are taking control of that version of you in the past. That version of you in the past didn't know how to handle this because it hadn't experienced it yet, but you have. And you've experienced so much more. So you are going to temporarily take control of that version of you. And I want you to imagine that the alarm wakes you up on the morning that your surgery is scheduled for. And as you wake up and get out of bed, I want you to get a sense of optimism and resourcefulness. As you do whatever you do when you wake up, you can't help but do it with a feeling of confidence that somehow you are facing a fear that you've already faced before. This is not new for you. As you brush your teeth, maybe you do it with a smile. As you eat your breakfast, if you're allowed to eat, it's completely fine. And then imagine as you walk towards perhaps the hospital, you might even do it with a spring in your step, and you might be thinking, why am I not more nervous here? And yet, here you are doing it. And the reason is because you know that the moment you do this, your comfort zone expands. As you go through this, you are giving evidence to your conscious and unconscious mind that you will never walk away from fear and anxiety. By going towards it, any fear and anxiety in your present and your future becomes more elusive. You are voting in yourself, in your own belief. As you walk to the hospital, I want you to imagine that you arrive, still feeling that sense of resourcefulness, still noticing that you're breathing deep in your diaphragm. Maybe you even smile. As you're welcomed by the reception, they ask you to take a seat, you take a seat. And notice how comfortable you feel as maybe you check your phone or watch a TV screen or read a newspaper. And then you're invited into a private room maybe. As they're explaining what's going to happen, just notice your inner dialogue is very pragmatic. Okay, you're paying attention, but there's no questions about worrying what's going to happen. Just a sense that you will trust that these medical professionals know what they're doing and will do it to the best of their ability, and you will focus on your thoughts. And your key thought is, I can handle this. I'm not fazed by this. This will be fine. And that will create a self-fulfilling prophecy where it is fine. And then let's say they need to do something. Anything that is undesirable in any way. There's two things that will happen. One, you will look the other way. You don't need to pay attention to what other people are doing. Just trust that they've done this 1,000 times before and you don't need to watch. And secondly, imagine yourself in a positive moment in the future. As you can feel them doing whatever they're doing, you're imagining you're doing exactly what you will be able to do with all the benefits of whatever this treatment is. And it's so real you can almost feel it. Maybe that's playing with a child, spending time with your partner, being on a holiday. Whenever they're doing things, you are teleporting to a future desirable event. And then you notice that they've just done whatever they needed to do, and then you accept, well, if I handled that, I can handle the next thing. You didn't have to think of everything in one go, just whatever you need to do next. Very methodical, pragmatic, resourceful. Feel that resource within you. They let you know that they're going to give you an anesthetic. And again, at the point where they're administering that, you're looking away, thinking about a positive moment in the future, associating into all those good feelings of all the things you'll be able to do after this treatment has been completed. And then imagine that you're drifting off into an even deeper sleep now. The anesthetic is powerful. You can feel nothing. But the last thought before the anesthetic kicks in is all the wonderful things you'll be able to do in your future, things that you haven't been able to do. All the compromises that you've been forced to make are then your past and not your future. Your future is the desirable things. That will be the last thought as the anesthetic kicks in, and then you may even dream about those things. While whatever treatment and surgery is taking place, your mind is just in an exciting adventure. And then perhaps several hours later, you awaken. And you can appreciate that something's changed because maybe there's bandages or some kind of conversation with a medical practitioner, but you get a sense that the worst is over. Now it's just about healing and rest. At the point where they have to remove anything or do any follow-up treatment, again, you will look away. You don't need to see what's happening. And you will imagine yourself in a future positive moment. You will literally teleport to that future moment where you're associating into all the good feelings that you will have that are now directly possible because you've changed how you thought about these things. That's right. Then imagine that perhaps a taxi picks you up, takes you home, and you're resting. And if there's any pain at any point, it's just evidence for you that the worst is behind you and this is part of your healing. Anything undesirable, you will fixate on the future positive things that are possible as a result of what you've done. More importantly, a thought will keep coming into your mind, and that is, if I've now faced this, what else is possible? Because when you face a fear, it's difficult for that fear to come back. And not only that, but your mind now knows that all fear is temporary and all fears can be changed. And it may be that one by one any other fears start to disappear. And you will know that by facing a fear, by doing something that at one point in your life you didn't think you can do, you're setting an incredible example to your children. You are evidence that you control fear and fear does not control you, ensuring that your children have a more brave and courageous and confident future as you become a role model for them to look up to. And then fast forward in time where you're taking them on a holiday for the very first time in a long time, where you actually get to spend time with them, play with them in the way that you've wanted to. Imagine picking up one of your children, giving them a tight hug, get all those good feelings of the things that you can now do as a result of having gone through this process. Imagine spending time with your partner in the way that you've wanted to spend time. And notice that there is more freedom, more choice, less sacrifices. That your future is better because a temporary moment of discomfort was met with you at your most resourceful. And then you realize this is just thoughts within thoughts, like everything else has been. Find yourself back there on that hammock or on that sun lounger, feeling the sunshine on your skin. Imagine getting up out of that, feeling how good it feels for this fear to have gone for a long time, and noticing that so many areas of your life have improved. That actually, the law of momentum says that when one thing changes, other similar things are also more likely to change positively in the same way. You get a sense that your life has moved in the right direction, directly as a result of doing something that you needed to do anyway. And then you recall that all of this is just still your imagination. I want you to find yourself now back in your body, listening to my voice, firmly in the present. In a few moments' time, I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling highly resourceful, highly pragmatic, with new thinking strategies as to how you will think about the future. You will think about the future in a way where you are resourceful, that you are doing what is necessary, and you will spend most of your time not thinking about the thing itself, but what is possible as a result of the thing itself. Any kind of medical interventions, treatment, dental work, health work are just stepping stones towards a healthier life with more possibility, and it's those possibilities that you will dwell on, not the treatment. You are now back in your body, listening to my voice. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're in your own physical body right now as I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.